are going to start preparing for the Toyota Land Cruiser Club's 70th, or the Land Cruiser 70th anniversary. So we've got to set this whole studio up. So Ricky and I are going to be talking through that. This is our space. This is the back. And we have all this pallet racking there and the draping there. So what we've got to do is first of all, we've got to get that drape and move it across. Because the idea is we're going to bring the car here and we're going to drive it in there. And so we need to close that gap there so that the black curtain can fill that entire back space. But we have a forklift, so we're going to use the forklift to get up there to do that. Then we're going to move the forklift out of the warehouse, bring the car in, and then bring the forklift behind the car. So the forklift is in that little space there near the roller shutter door and not in this area. The cameras are going to come here and we're going to be filming in this direction. So we've got, I reckon, 4 or 5 hours to do this and set it all up and have it all ready. And welcome to the live stream of the 70th anniversary of the Land Cruiser. My name is Richard and I will be your host, streaming live from Kingsgrove, which is in southwest of Sydney.
Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the Toyota Land Cruiser Club meeting for the 4th of August. I declare this meeting open at 7:30 p.m. Good evening, members and guests. I'm Tony Spirenberg, the TLCC President. On my left is our Vice President, Scott Jameson, and on my right is our Club Treasurer, Mark Willock. Our Club Secretary, Mark Siller, is unfortunately not well and stuck in hospital in Wagga. So Norma Ferguson, who is on my far left, will be taking the minutes for tonight. Thank you, Norma. Are there any new members here tonight? Please raise your hand. Welcome. Welcome to the club. I trust you'll have a long and enjoyable membership with us. This meeting is being live streamed to the TLCC YouTube channel. We encourage interaction and chats on the live stream. However, to do so, you will need to log in. Hang on, I'm just having a computer problem here. All right. So members are present as per the attendance book. Apologies to Mark Siller. Are there any other apologies?
John Kenny.
John Kenny is an apology. Okay. The minutes from the previous meetings held on Monday the 7th of July were posted to the rear of the hall. Are there any issues or points regarding those minutes? No? Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you. All right. As I said, welcome to our 4th of August general meeting of 2025. There was going to be a sand driving course on the weekend, but unfortunately due to weather, that one was postponed for a few weeks. I think it'll be maybe next month.
I think that's 16th of this month.
Oh, 16th of August it will be run again. Okay, I'm sure that'll be covered later. Advanced driver training is happening in August. However, we will return to basic training in September. Big thanks to Gary. Our courses look full every month until the end of the year. So, looking at trips, we're going to give a big shout out to Peter Williams, for getting trips up and running nice and smoothly, and the calendar looks fantastic until the end of the year as well. Could be a little better, Peter's saying. Could be much better. I'm sure more trips will turn up. And yeah, moving on from that, we have the return of the Funkana coming up in the October long weekends. Big thanks to Anthony Morpher as well as Peter Williams for organising this event. The next big social event coming up will be Halloween. That'll also be happening in October. Preparations are underway, volunteers have been assigned, and Sarah will be making sure that everything goes off without a hitch. Okay, also as well, the kids' Christmas party in November is being led by Ali Ritchie, and planning is well underway for that as well. The adults' Christmas party towards the end of the year is being planned and administrated by Elke and Chris Taylor. So our continuing challenge is to increase participation of members in the club and ensure the club's longevity into the future. The social director role is still open. Debbie is doing a fantastic job, but as I've stated before, she can't continue into the role. Debbie will happily guide someone into the role and give a really good handover. Okay, I really hope someone steps up to do that, or we may have to cancel some social activities. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you at a trip, social event, or a monthly meeting. Okay, I will now hand over to Scott for the Vice President.
Good evening. So we've got 2 guest speakers here tonight. We've been lucky to fill the books up. We've got Tim from Brown & Watson, better known as NARVA or Projector, manufacturer of 12-volt products and a few other things. And we've also got Cheryl from Pacific Star Adventures. But first up, we'll get Tim up the front to go through his presentation and tell us all about what the products that they manufacture and deliver to Australia. Is it connected to the laptop like that?
Yeah, grab that. Here we go. Introduce yourself.
My name's Aidan as well, and I'm one of the other reps for Brown & Watson.
All right. Aidan's new at this, so we'll give him a break. So today we've got a quick presentation on some driving lights and some other new products that we've been doing. So our driving lights are probably the best on the market, and we've just released the Mark III at the end of last year. So we do a wide range, so we go a 7, 9, and 24 and 8-inch light bars. So as you can see up there, the light bar at the top is a hybrid beam. It goes 900 metres at 1 lux, so should be able to read a newspaper or something about there. Okay.
And now we're going to touch on the Ultima Mark IIIs. Next slide. Okay, cool. Go down.
So the Mark IIIs, or the Ultimas, are our most effective and powerful light in our stable. They have a spot beam or a hybrid beam. The new spot beam will go 1400 metres at 1 lux. They've got 14 customisable faces, so they trim around nice and easy to remove, and you can just you get them for free from the NARVA website.
And this is the Ultima 180s. So you basically get a 9-inch performance being a 7-inch package. So this one here is 11,260 lumens and about 901 metres in beam distance.
So the good thing about these ones is they're IP68 and 69K, so they'll handle dust and hot water pressure wash actually. The vibration is excellent, the rating. They have ADR position lights approved, and it comes with you can be used with our Connect Plus. So these are the Mark IIIs, so they're 19,000 effective lumens, ideal for bull bars, a hybrid beam. Spot beam's 1400 metres, same thing, you can change that little blue rim that's around it, you can change those up to 14 different colours. More control over the Connect Plus, so the Connect Plus we'll show you in a second, and market leading durability. So they come with a 10-year warranty, and that includes animal strikes. So you get a roo, a cow, wombat, anything like that, and it breaks a light, we'll replace it free.
And this is just a brief chart on sort of the output you get out of the range. So you'll see up the top there's the 180s. So you get about 901 metres at 1 lux, and you sort of get around 57 sort of metres in width as well, which is really good for a pair of 7-inch lights. And then you'll see below that as well there is the 215s and the hybrid. So you get sort of roughly 92 metres in width and about 12, 13 at 1 lux, which is really impressive for a pair of 9-inch driving lights.
Like, when you're driving down the road, it's good to see distance, but it's also good to see whatever's coming from your left or right, because most things don't jump at you from the front, they come from the side. So we've not only give market-leading performance in distance, but market-leading performance in width as well. So the Mark IIIs come with a Deutsch connector, which is a genuine Deutsch connector. It's not a copy or anything like that. It's actually genuine Deutsch. Gore-Tex Breathe Event, so less moisture, no condensation build-up. You can do this.
And then you've got the Connect Plus as well. So with that, that'll basically integrate with your set of Mark IIIs. And you can have the option of dimming the lights down. You can boost the output, which is 10% more as well as changing the beam patterns and as well.
So with that Connect Plus, that actually works with the light bar. So if you have a light bar on your roof and driving lights, you can boost both or dull them down a bit. They're the different colours that are available for free. You just head to the website, put in your email address and delivery address, and we'll send you out a set for free. They come with a new selective yellow, so these reduce the colour to about 3,600 Kelvin. And the good thing about these compared to a previous amber cover was these only affect the output by about 10%. But reduce the glare dramatically off signs and stuff like that.
And the other thing too is it's really good for cutting through fog or dust and stuff like that as well, where you can't really see as well.
So these are my lights. I like these ones a lot. I've got them on my ute. These are EX2s. These are our mid-tier base lights. So these come with a 7-year warranty, and once again includes animal strikes, which I don't think there's too many other lighting companies on the market that, you know, you hit a roo or you hit anything and we'll replace the light for free. So these are pretty easy to install. They go red to, there's 3 wires essentially. You go red to positive of the battery, black to negative, and yellow to your high beam pickup. In New South Wales though, it has to be run for a separate switch. And like you can see out there, it's 7-year no fault warranty. They come in a range of sizes from 4-inch, 7-inch to 9-inch, 3-inch pod light, single row 10-inch, and then 20-inch and 30-inch. All variants have a double row or a single row. Made from hard polycarbonate lenses, ultra strong and durable brackets. They're customisable trims. So once again, you buy a set of these, you go onto the website. There's 8 different colours that you can choose from. I think 7 actually. 7 different colours that you can choose from, and we'll send you out a free. And they're just a rubber trim that goes around the outside. So if you know you've got a yellow car, you want yellow trims, we got you covered. So that's a quick wiring diagram of how it wires up in most other states around Australia, except for New South Wales. See how easy it is: red to red, black to black, yellow to high beam pickup. Literally takes 25 minutes to wire them in. They're internally relayed, so there's no need for a harness. So just some 6mm cable, bit of a fuse, and you'll be right. So this is our little baby of the lot. So it's a 10-inch single row light bar, but it just slots. Take your number plate lamp off. Number plate off. Sits behind the number plate. Same wiring, same ease, same performance. Out of that little 10-inch light bar, you're getting about 250 metres down the road. So these are the light graphs, I guess you'd call it. So out of I think it's 4-inch pair at the top, 220, 370, 460, and out of a 9-inch pair, you've got 700 metres down the road at about 60 wide. The light bars, these are all the single rows that are available, and like you can see, pretty good in performance, especially out of the single row. There are all the different coloured trims that you can get. They're all free. It does come with electric and slate already in the box when you buy these lights. But if you want any other colour, like I said, it's just a simple log into the website, put your details in, and we'll send you out a pair or a single one for a light bar. Okay.
And then as well as the Ultimas, we have the amber lens covers as well. So same sort of deal, you know, you reduce your output a little bit, but you still get that still good visibility. You don't get the glare back from road signs as well, and you still see through fog and dust and stuff as well.
So one of the other things about the EX2 range is we have the EX2R. They come with position lights around it, so 4 little lights around it, and they're colour changeable through a controller and app on your phone, so it's super easy to change. Obviously it has to be white or amber for road use in Australia, but when you're off-road you can change it up to 48 different colours. Pretty easy to use too. So after a while, NARVA decided, or we've decided to update and revamp our rear lighting range. So these are the new 70 series. They're good for tray back vehicles, trays, canopies, everything like that. The best thing about these, they're designed, engineered and tested in Australia. They're made in our Korean factory, owned by Brown and Watson. The value is excellent. Enhanced optics. We have one over there that you can have a look at just how good the light output is. The good thing about these is, same again, 7-year warranty that pretty much covers everything except for impact. They're ADR approved, they're multi-volt, so they go 9 to 33. They come with 0.5 metre of cable after it, vibration tested, IP68 and 69, and very low current draw.
And then you'll also see on here as well, we've got the options of sequential as well. And you have 2 different options. So you have the 212s, which is a bit shorter, and then the 312, which is the longer version as well. And you'll see on the other side, they're adjustable mounting bolt holes, so they'll fit a wider array of footprints as well.
So with the mounting, there's 3 ways to mount them. 3. Yep. So either through the end caps or in through the back, or there's a fixed mounting point as well. So like Aidan said, it gives you, if you've already got tail lights in your tray or whatever, and you know you need a certain bolt width or a PCD, then the bolts will just slide in either way to fit whatever bolt mount you want. So these are brand new. They've been out for about, I think, since May. So these are our smart relays and multi-channel relays. So the multi-channel relay, the one on the right, it is more suited to run lower current draw products. And the big one on the left there is a 40 ampere, so it can run driving lights. Now the beauty about these things is once they connect through this, you have anything that connects through this, it connects via LIN bus cable to our little IQ-D2 screen, and then that screen will then connect to your phone, and you can operate your lights, scene lamps, anything like that, or whatever's through these relays, through an app on your phone. Or even better, if you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, it is now available to be used on those. So you have a light, a driving light, and instead, you know, in New South Wales you have to put a switch in. You can actually have the switch on your dash now, so you don't have to have a separate switch panel or anything like that.
And you'll see as well, so with Projector we've sort of released the IoT, which is the Internet of Things. So you'll sort of see sort of a brief sort of guide on how it all works. So you've got your IQ screen as well as your relays and kind of what you can power with the relays. You can run scene lamps or fridges or beacons, and then all via on either your phone as well or the head unit on your car as well.
Oh, you can't hear it. So this guy's Benny. He's our guru, and he's our YouTube face of Projector. He's just pretty much running through exactly what you can do. So you can turn compressors off, canopy lights, anything that runs through the app, you can sort of make it so it's a timer.
Bringing it on the road with you. You can set daily tasks and delays to take the thinking and effort out of device management. Both smart relays allow your Projector 2-inch smart display to act as a 12-volt VSR, playing a simple but crucial role in your battery management. Both relays feature a low voltage disconnect setting to protect your battery from excessive discharge. The multi-channel relays can connect up to 4 devices, acting as a cost-effective switch panel, and offer features like conditional switching, essentially acting as a 3-way rocker switch. The whole system is controlled with just one Bluetooth connection from the Projector Smart Display. You can control everything from your smart display, or even better, from one single app on your phone. Or go one step further and utilize Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration. No need to add additional switch panels, especially for those vehicles with no OE switch blinks. No switching apps to control different devices. And no more leaving the campfire to turn things on and off. Projector Smart Relays. Incredible smarts, endless possibilities.
So as you can probably see by that, it's pretty much a game changer in accessory fitting and what the usability of it is. So he's went over that. So this is the 40 amp relay. It's a big block relay. It will run just about anything that you can run through a normal relay can run through one of these and turn into a smart relay and turn into a smart device and use it on your phone.
And then this one here is the multi-channel, so similar sort of thing as well. You can sort of see what you can program, and the beauty of the relays as well is they can be treated as a timer relay. So if you can have your work lights or whatever it may be turn on a certain time and then turn off at a certain time as well. So if you're on your swag and you're too lazy to get out and turn them off, you can go on your phone and do that instead.
Another thing that's not mentioned up there is you can run multiple of these relays in series, and then it's just the one cable into the LIN bus into your screen. So you can have up to 5 of those, the multi-channels, so that's 20 devices that you can run through it, and it still connects into your one screen and connects to your phone.
And here we have the IDC 25X. This is our DC to DC charger. This is the 25 amp version. So the beauty of our range as well is sort of the way you can install them as well. So these are on nut and bolt termination, which is a million times easier. All you have to do is crimp it, so you don't have to worry about soldering or whatever it may be. 5-year warranty as well, and actually under bonnet rated too. So.
And they connect to the same IQ screen that the smart relays previously mentioned do. So the charger comes as a 25 amp or a 50 amp. Now, once again, you can join 5 of these together, so it can be a multiple combination of either 50 or 25 amps, but you can chain 5 of them in together. So theoretically, you can have 250 amps of DC to DC charging, which is quite a lot. The IDC 25X is guaranteed 25 amps output up to 75 degrees, which is better than anyone on the market that we currently go against. They're IQ enabled, so once again, as mentioned just a second ago, it connects back to the IQ screen, so you can get all your details on the screen, or if not on your phone, or if not on your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So as they mentioned, they're nut and bolt termination. It's pretty easy. They're self-explanatory. Everything, like you can see up there, the solar input says solar, the ground says ground, the alternator feed says alternator. These will show you charging status of solar input, alternator input, or total output current. They will also let you charge any battery chemistry, and they're future-proof, or what we call future-proof. So simple update over the internet or over the air, and we can update the current firmware to make it future-proof and to change things down the future.
And this is just the inverter range as well. So this is our ProWave inverters. So you'll see on the thing there that you can also get them, so they increase power from the previous range as well, so 1100 watts to 1000, that 1 second surge capacity, and all inverters will come with a remote with an inbuilt display as well.
Not too much on the inverters tonight, because okay, so these are probably one of the best jump starters on the market. I think just about everyone in here will probably have a jump starter in their car. The one thing that sets apart from being a projector, one thing that sets these apart from anyone's on the market is we have we call it rapid recharge. So essentially, you will jump start the car, leave the jump starter connected to the battery for 45 seconds to a couple of minutes, depending on the alternator, and the car will put back into the jump starter what it took out to jump start the vehicle. So if it took out 25%, so if you start at 100%, theoretically, if you jump start the car, leave it on there for the rapid recharge to take effect, and then once that happens, it should charge it back to 100%. So you will never be lower than 100% when you need it. Because let's face it, when you need a jump starter, it needs to be charged, not half dead or. These come in a range of sizes from 920, 1220, 1400, 1500 is where we start to get to sort of mechanical grade, workshop grade. The 920 and the 1220 will do up to a 4.5 litre diesel in 12 volt.
Yeah, 1220 will do 4.5 litre diesel and 7 litre petrol. Whereas your 920 is probably going to be aimed more at your little passenger vehicles or your little sedans and that sort of thing. I think they're 7 litre petrol.
So the 920 and 1220 pretty much will fit in your glove box. The 1400, not so much. The 1500 is the last of the 12 volt only, and the 2000 is when we start to do on 1224. Now the good thing about these is the reverse. All of these have the rapid recharge. They're reverse polarity protected, so you can put red on black and black on red, and it won't. The jump starter won't let you do anything. It won't put power to it, and
the surge protection.
Yeah, the surge protection as well, and any spark clamps.
And the beauty of the 920 and the 1220 as well is they act as a power bank as well. So you can charge your phone as well, and they've got a little flashlight too. If you ever need the light, you've got one.
So these are all the specs which don't really need to see, but The main thing is that these jump starters, and this is patented to projector, so no one else can say that they do this. We will recharge off the vehicle once you jump start it, as long as the alternator is good.
And theoretically, as long as you're doing the rapid recharge every time, you've really got no reason to charge it back on a USB, because you should always be recharging off the alternator.
Yes, so the 920, 1220 and the 1400 all come with USB charger, so you can charge it while you're driving. The 1500 and upwards come on a dock. Like I said, they're more workshop grade.
And the 920 and 1220, if you do forget to charge it, they should hold charge at least 14, 16 months.
Yep, so that's 14, 16 months sitting in your car, and then you should be able to just go grab it out of there when you need it and use it. We'll quickly touch on these ones. These are probably not too suitable for your club, but these are our heavy-duty industrial ones. So they're all our jump starters are made from lithium phosphate batteries, so not lithium ion, so there's less chance of it catching fire and causing some issues. These have been run in the mine, so that's a pretty good indication of how good they are, and the fireproofness of them is they've been run in the mines. So we go at 5,000 now. 5,000, and this is a bit of overkill for you guys, but a 5,000 will start a 16-litre Kenworth truck with no battery. And once again, has a rapid recharge. So the aim with these is have a field guy, a tech, he jump starts one truck, he can rapid recharge it, takes a couple of minutes, puts it back into his ute, drives away, gets another breakdown, needs to jump start it, he's covered. And
the extra thing is to, whether it's the 1400, the 2000, 3000 and 5000, or have the LCD screen so you can see the rapid recharge, and I should tell you when it's done as well.
And they have an override mode. So the beauty about these is you put the 1224s, you put it on the on the battery, the jump starter itself will go, this is 12 volt system, put it in 12 volt mode, but if the battery is that flat and it can't pick up what the system is, you just push and hold the 12 volt battery, the 12 volt button or the 24 volt button, and it puts it into that mode, and then press jump start and away you go. So this is brand new for us. This is the biggest one we do. The beauty about this one, it comes with a Anderson plug in the middle, so the cable length goes from 1.5 metres to 2.8. So there's no need to be carrying it around trying to juggle it on your lap or something like that to jump start it. They've got a multi-pole HD connector, adapter carrying kit, automatic voltage detection, like I said, and workshop and worksite tough. So they're the cables. So we designed it so it can have a cap plug, so big machinery, instead of having to use jumper cables, just plug straight into the side of the vehicle and away you go. Yeah, do this one. Okay, so 350 amp heavy duty Anderson plug, so it's quite considerable. The beauty about these things too is anyone that's ever worked in mechanics or needed a good jump starter, back in the day it used to be a trolley with a couple of N70ZZs on it, which were about 17 kilos each, I think, from memory. This thing here weighs about 16 kilos, complete, ready to go. So there's no manual labour, there's no breaking your back trying to do it. And that is it.
Thank you, Tim and Aidan. And this next guest speaker is from Pacific Star Adventures. Oh, sorry. Quickly, any questions for Tim and Aidan before we move on to the next one, guys?
Getting the mic.
You wish to guys.
That one on? Yep. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, my name's Cheryl. I'm from Pacific Star Adventures. I'd just like to say, if your treasurer can do Kokoda in 6 days, anyone can do Kokoda. Trekking Kokoda, tell me, what does Australia, Japan and Toyota have in common? Anyone want to have a guess? They were all involved in the Second World War. So Toyota was used by the Japanese Imperial Forces during the Second World War. Admittedly, the headlights of the vehicles, I'll go on to that a little bit later, but the headlights of the vehicles were conservative and we'd only use one headlight and we'd use timber and plywood as panels because supplies were in short demand during the war. A little bit of history for you. But trekking Kokoda is adventure on 2 legs, not 4 wheels. So, what we're going to cover, a little bit of background, why trek Kokoda, a little bit of Kokoda history, is it a track or a trail, and a bit of overview. So where my journey began, I come to you with 27 years policing experience and equal in the Australian Defence Force. So those photos up there are me. My background with police has been frontline, 27 years of frontline policing, seeing the trauma each and every day. In the Defence Force, I'm an Army driving instructor, so I've had the privilege of driving many vehicles and instructing on many vehicles, and serving overseas with the United Nations. During 2001, I was served overseas as an air dispatcher in East Timor. So that's me serving in East Timor. The top left, that's me underneath the helicopter. The middle is about to blast an explosive. On the far right is under night vision doing a village patrol. And the centre middle underneath is during the Fretland riots. A little bit of driving with the Army and some of the vehicles. The bottom are the Unimogs, and the top is our new legacy replacement fleets with the 40 mics and the HX77. So why Kokoda? There's a lot of trauma on a day-to-day basis in defence and also in the police. And you'll see up there, there's been a Royal Commission into the suicide rates in defence, but equally I lost count at over 30 colleagues within the police that committed suicide, and that's immediate colleagues that I know, not total numbers. The top left picture there is me single-handedly dealing with a murder in Westfield. Only a month later, I was involved in an unfortunate incident where 4 individual people were shot by ricochet in Westfield. And the bottom right is actually supporting Curtis Chang's family. Curtis Chang was a public servant who was fatally killed out the front of police headquarters. And that's his family members attending a Police Remembrance Day service. So the trauma each and every day, and equally measured by the suicide rates in both defence and police, is very, very real. So my Kokoda journey started in 2015. I walked my first Kokoda trek under the banner of Police Legacy, where I had the privilege of walking alongside some beautiful family members and surviving family members of police who had either been killed or suicided during the course of their duties. Subsequently, the place gets in your blood and you want to keep going back. So I returned the following year as a supervisor for Police Legacy, and this was a group I took over in 2016. When you walk the trail, there's no rank. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much money you've got. It doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is you keep walking. Similarly, four-wheel driving. Something goes wrong, something happens, you're out on the Birdsville track and something breaks down. What happens? What do? You've got to find a way to figure it out and keep moving forward. So the reason that a lot of people trek Kokoda is particularly for the Australian history. Either their forefathers served over there, they want the personal or the physical challenge, the cultural experience of leaving all social media behind, adventure, and the nature. There's a bird up there, a lyrebird, that has mimicked the sound of the machine gun, and that bird has passed on that sound ever since the war. And even today you can hear this bird mimicking the sound of the machine gun. It's a journey that leaves a lasting impact. So a little bit of history. There's 3 specific phases of the Kokoda campaign. We begin operations on the 7th of July. The Australians survey the land. We go across the trail from south to north, surveying, conducting a reconnaissance of the land. Phase 2 is the Australians conduct a fighting withdrawal. The Japanese land at the beachheads on the northern side on the 21st of July, and they start coming south. And phase 3 is we conduct our offensive, so travelling south to north on the offensive. Across that phase, there's a number of significant battles. We've got the Battle of Isarava, we've got a number of battles for Kokoda, and then finally at Irabira Village or Irabira Ridge is where the Japanese don't further travel south. So that's the final place of where the Japanese get to, and then the Australians go on the offensive back heading towards Kokoda. So during World War II, Toyota primarily produced trucks and other vehicles for the Imperial Japanese Army. Like I said before, variants of the Toyota G1 truck, they simplified their designs using only one headlight, plywood for body panels due to supply shortages during the war. They also manufactured an amphibious vehicle, a boat-shaped steel hull that could operate in both two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Had a payload of 2 tonne. Similarly, there was a Ford tri-motor American 3-engine transport aircraft, and that was adapted for use during the war. That actually ploughed in at a place called Myola. You'll see pictures of that later. It was fondly known as the Tin Goose, and there's one still on display at the moment at a museum in Port Moresby. So is it a track or a trail? Doesn't really matter. Both arches, the arches on the left are actually at Kokoda at the northern end, and the arches on the right are on the southern end at Owers Corner. And if you walk round each side, forward or back of the arches, they both mirror Kokoda Trail, Kokoda Track. The Kokoda Track is bush terminology from the Aussies, but formal battle honour and Papua New Guinean recognise that it's Kokoda Trail formally. A little bit of overview here. So up on the top right hand side we've got Gona and Boona and the beaches, Awala, and then we've got Wairopi, which is pidgin English for wire rope. You'll notice there's Kamusi River, and the wire rope went across the Kamusi River as a mode of transport. During the war we cut that, so it cut off the supplies. Between Awala and Kokoda is a very primitive road, so you could drive between that section. However, Japanese came through there on bicycles during the war. On the southern end we've got Port Moresby. The Kokoda Track doesn't actually start until you get to Owers Corner. Owers Corner then goes to Goldie Creek, and there's no transport between there and Kokoda. It's all on foot. You'll see there's a number of villages along the way. Marked on there is Templeton's Crossing, Brigade Hill and Isarava, where we have significant battles. Myola out on the side is identified as a supply line where we can airdrop supplies. And common factor is whoever can get supplies in or out wins the war. If you can't get fuel in, you can't drive your car. If you can't get tyres in, you can't go. You can't get resupplies. So Myola was identified as a significant section where we could get supplies. So the profile, we have all up 7,150 metres in total ascent, and total descent is 7,570 metres of ups and downs. So say 7.5 kilometres either up or down, across 96 kilometres from south to north. Generally takes people 8 to 9 days, but your treasurer can do it in 6, just saying. The highest point on the range is at Mount Bellamy. And who can tell me what Mount Kosciuszko is? 22? So the highest point for Kokoda across the Owen Stanleys is 2,320 metres. So it's higher than Kosciuszko. That's the highest point. But notice, similarly to if anyone's been to Kosciuszko, you can stand and you can see the cairn and you can look out and see the beautiful view. Up here, it's just jungle terrain. So you can't see anything because of the tree lines. The trees obstruct all view, and if no one actually pointed it out to you, you wouldn't even know you're at the highest point. I make a point of getting everyone to raise a flag there, and it's usually somebody's underpants, which it is on this occasion. So the facilities. So on the top left-hand corner there, you'll see the 5-star, 3-star and 1-star toilet. On the right-hand side bottom, you'll see the 5-star shower. The top right is the 3-star shower, and the top middle is the 2-star shower. There's always somewhere where you can wash and always somewhere where you can go to the toilet, but the circumstances can get a little bit more primitive as you go along. It's always camp-style facility, and you've got a typical dining hut on the left, bottom left. The food, so predominantly there's no refrigeration at all across the trail. So you've got no fresh meat, you've certainly got no dairy products, and if you're drinking milk, it's definitely powdered milk. However, having said that, the food, the fruit, and you'll see the avocado on the bottom left is the size of small soft balls. They're huge and they're full of flavour. The fruit is absolutely to die for, and the boys will always cook over hot coals, and they'll come up with cakes, donuts, you name it, they can make it. The pancakes, pizza, you never go hungry. There's always a little bit of trek politics. Similarly with four-wheel driving, you're going across someone's land or you're in a national park or a state forest. Up there, it's regulated by the Kokoda Trek Authority, so they issue the permits for trekkers. Then there's also the landowner disputes. And then within the Australian side, as a tour operator, there's only by choice, you can join the Kokoda Tour Operators Association, which is run on the Australian side of the house. We set our rules and regulations for how much the porters can carry and the conditions of what must be provided, minimum conditions for the porters. However, the Kokoda Track Authority also regulates the maximum weight for what can be carried, the minimum standard for Papua New Guinean carriers. It's common that there will be landowner disputes, like you can see there. The picture we have is a blockade at a place called Cavello, which is the first main village you get to out of Kokoda. They're close to the airstrip, so they have a little bit of play in people are on a timeline getting to the airstrip to catch a flight or a chartered flight out. So they will leverage that, and they will leverage that to the point where they'll blockade and they'll charge fees for Australians to go through. Normal Papua New Guinean politics takes place, it always needs to be negotiated, no different to what we have here in Australia. Having said that, peaceful resolution always takes place, and it's about respecting the landowners and treating them with respect. Equally, they'll treat me with respect. At this one, I walked through because I let one of the landowners on a flight that I had chartered out. So with a bit of negotiation and forward thinking and well documented evidence, you can talk your way around in those circumstances. It's also about respecting and honouring sacred ground. There's a lot of respect on the Japanese side, but also equally on the Australian side. In these images, we have the top right is Isarava Memorial, the bottom right is Brigade Hill, the left is where Australians were awarded a Victoria Cross, and in the middle is what's called Cons Rock. If you're going across the Birdsville track with a four-wheel drive and you break a radiator hose, you have to improvise. That rock, we had to improvise. So I generally start my tours at Bamana War Cemetery. That's in Port Moresby. And there's 3 significant structures in that cemetery. You've got the cross of sacrifice, is the top right. The stone of remembrance is the bottom right. The memorial to the missing is the top middle. In total, there's 3,826 burials in that cemetery. 704 are known unto God. 740 served in the war up there. Their bodies have never been found. So they're known to be missing, presumed to be dead, and they're listed in the memorial to the missing, and they have no known grave. Having said that, they're forever digging out remains and trying to figure out who's who, so that changes at best. In that cemetery, there's 2 Victoria Crosses, 2 Distinguished Conduct Medals, 6 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 6 military crosses, and the youngest recorded person as a recorded date of birth is 16 years old. So we generally honour a chap by the name of John Metzen. He fought in the Battle of Isarava. He was shot in the ankles. He refused to let his mates carry him, knowing it would mean that 8 people would have to carry him. It would slow them up. So he bandaged his knees and his ankles up in blankets, and he crawled for 3 weeks. He survived that portion and actually managed to stay up with his colleagues. Then they propped him up with the locals in a village, and unfortunately the Japanese found him at the time they were executed. But when things get tough, we reflect on him. He didn't let his mates carry him because he knew that it would slow them down. He bandaged his wounds up and he crawled the whole way, keeping up with them. Absolute courage. And so we reflect on him at the very start of our journey, because if we think we're doing it a bit tough, we've got nothing to compare it to. You listen to him, absolute honour. We reflect on Sam Templeton. So he was the commander of Bravo Company of the 39th Battalion. The 39th Battalion were reservists. They could only serve on Australian soil. Papua New Guinea during the war was actually considered a province of Australia. So it was the first time Australians were fighting for Australia, on Australia, under our own rule. And the Japanese land at the beachheads on the 21st of July, but by 5 days in, the 26th of July, 1942, Sam Templeton is no longer sighted. He's seen at Ovi, which is just between Kokoda and the beaches, and it's presumed that he's killed, but the circumstances surrounding his death are never formally known at that point in time. Years later, we actually find out through intelligence reports that were gifted over to the Japanese, and they actually tell us that there was an intelligence report that named Templeton, and Templeton is saying there's over thousands of Australians dug in around Kokoda. So at the point of his death, he manages to bullshit, and by bullshitting, he's bought valuable time for Australians to dig defensive positions. So he was smart enough to use that to our advantage during the war. Later on, I'll talk about chap by the name of Nishimura. He's the bone man of Kokoda, a Japanese man who comes back digging up bones for many, many years. And I have a couple of recordings of his where he actually claims to be present when Templeton is killed and buried. And he claims to be part of the burial party for Templeton. And his account is that Templeton was skiting at the Japanese because there were so many Australians dug in around the place. We have 3 battles for Kokoda. The first battle's 28th, 29th July. We have a second battle for the Kokoda, 8th to the 10th of August, and then we take Kokoda again by September. In that time, the 28th, 29th of July, the second commander, so we've got Lieutenant Colonel Owen, he's shot and killed. So we've already lost Templeton. Now the second, we've got Colonel Owen shot above the right eye, and he's mortally wounded in that the first battle of Kokoda. That's the plateau. So the significance of Kokoda is there's an airstrip there. So being able to fly in and out means you can get troops in and out. You can also get supplies in and out. So it was identified being strategic during the war. We have the Battle of Isarava, the 26th to the 31st of August. The 39th Battalion, and they're reinforced by the 2nd, 14th and the 2nd, 16th Battalion. And it's here that Kingsbury, a private, single-handedly pushes back Japanese forces that had encircled the Australians. He's awarded the Victoria Cross, and then the Australians do a fighting withdrawal. The Japanese overcome the Australians, they encircle us, and we end up doing a fighting withdrawal towards Templeton's Crossing. Significant site with 76 Australians falling during that battle. So as I said before, Kingsbury is awarded the Victoria Cross. He's buried at the Bomana War Cemetery. There's one other Victoria Cross that's buried at Bomana, and that's Alexander French. However, his Victoria Cross is awarded for a battle that occurs at Milne Bay, not on the Kokoda section of the campaign. The Cons Rock, I mentioned it before. You're driving across Birdsville Track. You lose a radiator hose, you lose some water. What are you going to do? You've got to improvise. The Cons Rock was identified, and it's named after Con Bapopoulos, and he's an Australian soldier who's also a medic. The rock was used to do amputations. From the amputation, a soldier survived, and it became a symbol of bravery and sacrifice. So we stop and we honour and reflect on that. Imagine lying on a rock like that having to do a medical procedure. But you're on the Birdsville Track and you've got no water and you've got to do something to survive. What are you going to do? It's not far from here, equally, where we honour the Bissett brothers. Anyone got siblings in the room? Anyone got a brother or a sister? Imagine having to sit with your brother or your sister for 6 hours knowing that they're going to pass away shortly. There was Stan and Thomas Bissett, 2 Australian soldiers, the brothers, and they both enlisted in the 2nd 14th Battalion. They both fought in the Battle at Isarava, and one ends up holding his brother for 6 hours as he passes away. Dan survives, and he's awarded a military cross for his leadership. We sit and we honour that across the trail. So then another significant site we have is the Battle of Brigade Hill, which occurs between the 6th and the 9th of September. It's also known as the Battle of Mission Ridge because there was a mission up on the ridge. Timely to reflect that whilst we're inside a church, there was a number of missionaries of all sorts of denominations that were across the Kokoda campaign previous to the war starting. 333 missionaries to be exact, They were advised to leave and return to the mainland, and they refused to do so because it showed that they didn't have faith in their God. They remained, and there was 333 missionaries that were killed during the campaign. But Mission Ridge got that name because there was a missionary establishment up there. So the Japanese launched their attack on the 7th of September. They were using artillery. They dragged a mountain gun. They took it apart piece by piece and dragged their mountain gun up. And at Brigade Hill, they actually had 1,200 people walking by lantern, and they reckon there was five Japanese per one lantern. So there was about 6,000 Japanese walking through. They came around and they encircled us. And at that point, they actually cut off the Australians from their headquarters position. We had to do a flanking manoeuvre. The Japanese executed a flanking manoeuvre, and for us to re-establish our lines, we had to do a bayonet assault charge. Knowing we had Australians on both sides, we couldn't be shooting downhill into our own people, so they do a bayonet assault charge. A number of significant heroic acts were done on both sides during that battle, and one we stop and honour shortly is Nishimura, the Bone Man of Kokoda. So, as I mentioned, Nishimura, he's known as the Bone Man of Kokoda. He was the only survivor from the Japanese Imperial Army. He was from the 144th Regiment. He actually, I have a recording of his where he bayonets an Australian and an Australian bayonets him. They're both injured and he's seeking refuge hiding in a tree. They're both eyeing each other off for the whole duration of the night. And by the morning, the Australians passed and he survived. As the only survivor, he regroups with other Japanese forces. They think that he has actually performed cowardly because he's survived and been the only survivor. So he goes forward and ends up fighting across the beaches. As he fights, because he's the only survivor from his section, they actually push him forward, using him as fodder, believing that he's performed cowardly. Post the war, he returns to Japan. He's a successful businessman, but he also made promises to his mates before they passed. And I encourage anyone to read his book. He's an amazing man. He ends up spending 25 years. He gets a boat, sails back to Papua New Guinea, gives away his business, leaves his family and kids behind, and he was impacted by what he saw and what he experienced during the war that much that he spent more than 25 years back in the jungle of Papua New Guinea digging up Japanese remains. And he says for him, that is such an honour. He's in heaven compared to what his counterparts experienced. Amazing man. And for that dedication, he went so far as to study anatomy, because at various times people are actually stealing off each other to get quality boots and quality gear. And at various times he studies anatomy because Australian boots are found to be on Japanese soldiers and vice versa. Amazing man. Nishimura. A place close to my heart, because this is my air dispatch heritage, is Myola. This place, you can see, is unusually flat. Not all tour groups go out towards Myola. Mark, did you go out here? Yeah. So there's two Myolas. There's one little Myola and big Myola. It was identified that it could be an airdrop zone. So they could drop supplies, medical supplies. They could fly things in and out. By airdropping it, guaranteed that people could get ammunition, food, medical aid. But it was also established that they could fly troops in and out. Injured could get flown out. And so there was significant battles around this area because it was prime real estate. And so the Battle of Myola Ridge took place between the 11th and 15th. We had about 100 Japanese soldiers were killed, with Australian, we suffered 21 killed and 48 wounded. A number of military medals were awarded there. But interesting fact is, Myola, it was an Aboriginal word meaning dawn of the day. And Bert Kensel named it in honour of his commanding officer, Sydney Smith. There's some more pictures of Myola. I've since engaged the landowner there, and I've had my own guest house built at Myola, which is pretty cool. So there's still a couple of plane wrecks there. They did set up field hospitals there. Having said that, with the field hospitals that were established there, it took 8 carriers to carry 1 wounded. So it was easier to keep the wounded there and get them to a point where they were strong enough to actually walk back out to Port Moresby. So that ended up occurring. There was a lot of field hospital establishments there in tents. They did land a number of planes there. One plane, the Ford Trimotor, rolled in and speared in the mud. That's since been recovered and moved back to Port Moresby. The plane on the right is still there, that plane crash, and that was actually flown locally, picking up, there's Mission Air Force pilots around the place, and they were flying between villages up there. That crashed a couple of years ago. They had to carry everyone out by hand from there. There's always bits of, every time it rains, there's always bits of remnants that end up getting washed up. The photo on the far left is my hand last year with some rounds that I just found walking on the track. There's ammunition caches along the way. Where they're found, they're caged up to protect them for security, and they're put on display. So we always stop and talk about some of the ordnance we find. Last trek we were climbing over a tree, and inside the tree there was the communication cable, the radio cable that was used for the telephone line. Everyone's been walking over it for years, no one's noticed that it's been there. A lot of history all over the trail comes out every time it rains. Unfortunately, it only took the Australian government until 2009 to establish what we refer to as the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angel Commemorative Medallion. A lot of Australians owe their life to the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels, the Papua New Guinean carriers. The whole way across the trail there's a number of sites. They're established dump sites. They're numbered, but the numbers don't mean anything. There might be dump 66, dump 44, dump 1. And what would happen the whole way across the trail, they would pick up, carry stores to the next, drop it, pick up wounded, and go back. So it was a concertina effect the whole way across the trail. And these Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels would actually go to the extreme lengths to look after our wounded, so much as holding leaves over the top of them to stop the rain from falling on their faces. And it led a chap by the name of Bert Barros to write a famous poem called Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels. In response to that, the mothers of the unit wrote a letter of reply to the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels who were watching after their sons. A couple of things you learn across the trail is leadership, and it always comes out. The teamwork that's needed to walk across the trail, but there are a number of prominent leaders, and we talked about the 39th Battalion before, and they've already lost 2 leaders within the first 5 days. Sam Templeton, within the first 5 days. Colonel Owen, within the first 5 days. The leadership kept changing hands, and some of the times the what they call NCOs, non-commissioned officers, had to step up and take charge during these battles. And so there's reflections on when you've seen a good leader and when you've seen a bad leader, and there's opportunity to reflect on that walking across the trail. The 39th Battalion keep fighting all the way, and they're not really relieved until they get to Minari. And at Minari, they're reinforced. And Ralph Honor speaks to his troops at that position, because it's the first time he's actually got to talk to the guys who he's now in command of. And he basically tells them he wants to talk to them at this time. And there's a war correspondent by the name of Damien Prera that steps in, and Honor wants his blokes to go and have a freshen up and clean up. And Damien Prera turns around and goes, no, the world needs to see these guys. It needs to see them how they are. Imagine if you went forward driving and you come back from a great four-wheel drive trip, but your car's all clean. Would anybody believe you've really been out four-wheel driving? Equally, Damien Pereira, the war correspondent, says the world needs to see them as they are. And so that leads to Kokoda Frontline, Damien Pereira, rugged bloody heroes. But Honor's speech is equally just as impressive because he says, I don't know you guys, but I'm commanding you. I don't know you guys, but we've fought all our way to where we are now. It's the first opportunity I've had to sit down and address you all. I now call you my brother. I now call you, we've fought all the way here. I now call you my brother, and I'm proud to say we've fought side by side. What a boss. Who would want to work for a boss like that, you know? But then we talk about other bosses later, and there's Blamey later on. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. So the troops, they all get resupplied and regather, and they regather at a place called Sageri. And at this place, there was a General Sir Thomas Blamey who visits the exhausted troops. And he basically gets up them and reprimands them, saying that they've been beaten by inferior forces and that no soldier should be afraid to die because they've done a fighting withdrawal. They've fought, withdrawn, fought, withdrawn, fought, withdrawn, fought, withdrawn. So basically they're chewing up the diesel supply. You're on a four-wheel drive trip and you've got no diesel, you know they're going to run out, they're not going to be able to go. This is what the Australians are doing. The Australians are fighting withdrawal, fighting withdrawal, fighting withdrawal. We're chewing up supplies and getting close to our petrol station. Up here, Blamey doesn't recognise that, and he says it's the rabbit who runs away is the rabbit that gets shot. He basically calls them cowards. And in that point, they do a march by, and during their march by, you do an eyes right to address an officer. They refuse to do their eyes right. He goes to visit people in hospital. They're chewing on lettuce leaves, implying that they're rabbits. Some of the other commanding officers had to settle the troops down because they were about to level their gun at their commanding officer, who's basically just called them cowards. But they've fought absolutely commandingly. And from that speech, later on it said a lot of Australians sacrificed themselves because the commanding officer has spoken to them, telling them they're cowards. And so instead, rather than fight withdraw, they've stood up and sacrificed themselves. So there's opportunity to talk and reflect on leadership. And when you think about your own workplace or you think about your own life experiences along the way, great reflection on leadership. Some of our life lessons, the mateship that we form across the track, no different. You're all four-wheel driving, sitting around a fire of a night, laughing at the events that unfolded during the day. You'll never replicate that. Up there, the disconnect, the no social media, the no phone, the no office phone calls. There's a complete disconnect, and it's just about persevering and enduring. Keep walking, keep walking. Just when you get comfortable, something happens and the track will throw you on your arse. You'll be sliding down the hill, mud on your backside, and it's whether you get yourself up, dust yourself off and keep walking. And that's what's passionate for with the suicide rate, the mental health and the resilience out of the Defence Service and the Police Service. It's life lessons up there that you'll never get anywhere else. There's some of the conditions that we have along the track. There's microclimates the whole way through. Just when you think you're having a dry track, there's no such thing as a dry track. We've got pictures along the way. The top left is a group up at Brigade Hill. We had in that group, there's the far right lady, she's the mother and her son is on her shoulder in the blue shirt, so a mother and son opportunity. The son's 20 years old, the mum's about 50. And to do it as a mother and son, they've both come away from it saying it was an amazing experience. The far right, top right, is all just the local villagers. They're from Afogi. They're the most beautiful people, you know, no running water, no electricity, a bamboo hut on stilts, but they're happy. We have the all-girls trip. The all-girls trip on the bottom right. I was panicking, thinking it could be a bit bitchy, it could be a bit catty, who knows what this is going to be like. And it ended up, these girls walked across the arches all hand in hand, absolutely loving the experience. Imagine going four-wheel driving with a whole bunch of girls, just girls. Wrong audience. So this one we have far left, a lady in her 60s. She lost count at how many times she fell over by about 50 times, but still finished. And we had the chap in the middle, he's in 72. He actually did the track with his son and grandson, and he had come back to do it a second time. And then we have Anthony Albanese on Anzac Day last year. Having said that, apologies to any politicians that are streaming or watching, he walked for a day and a half and then he got a helicopter off after Anzac Day. So I know the media made out that he walked the Kokoda track, but let's just say he walked part of it. A couple of other pictures along the way. And just in closing. So generally in closing, I like to reflect on we all have symbols in life. And with the poppy, I'm not a badge of honour and I'm not a racist smear. I'm not a fashion statement to be worn but once a year. I'm not glorification of conflict or of war, and I'm not a paper ornament, a token. I am more. I am a loving memory of a father or a son, a permanent reminder of each and every one. On paper or enamel, I am old or shining new. I'm a way of saying thank you to every one of you. I'm a simple poppy, a reminder to you all that courage, faith and honour will stand where heroes fall. May we never forget. Now, if I may, one question for you guys. What was the name of the guy that won the Victoria Cross? Who was it? Someone help her out? Yes? Who said that one? Kingsbury? So we have a stubby holder and a bottle opener going to you up the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Next,
Back to me. Okay, let's continue on with the rest of the meeting. We start with our Treasurer's report with Mark.
Thank you, Tony, and good evening, everybody. July came and went. In July, we had receipts of $9,695. About half of that was made up of membership, new members joining and a few people renewing. We also had some magazine advertising and we got a small refund from the tax office. In the same month, we spent $22,500. We paid for the fireworks. The gentleman who let the fireworks off was a little bit slow in sending us the bill. We paid our big insurance policy. That's nearly $9,000 for the various insurances the club holds. And we published the magazine and did a few other bits and pieces. So as at the end of July, we now have $351,967 in the bank. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a move and a second for the report? Okay, Gary with education.
Good evening, everyone. It's a bit hard to top the Kokoda story on that, but it was very good. Basic driver training for July. Tuesday the 15th, we had Module 1 here at the church. Modules 2 and 3 at Willaglen, of course, on the 19th and 20th of July. 12 driver trainers in attendance. 9 of those were fully qualified driver trainers in their yellows, and 3 were trainee driver trainers. 1 certificates were issued by Richard, which means that they've completed their course and they've passed. Generally, it was a good group. However, there's a bit of a breakdown in convoy procedure where I think there was about 6 cars had gone through following convoy procedure, and then all of a sudden we forgot convoy procedure. Now, as you know, Willaglen's a pretty big place, so the remainder of the convoy got lost. So remember your convoy procedure. Sand driving, I'll just add a little bit more to what Tony had to say. So Mark and Andrew were going to run another sand driving course last Saturday. It was too wet, so it was unfortunately cancelled. Now, Andrew only told me just prior to the last last general meeting that he was going to run a sand driving course. So I thought, there's not much time to advertise this. So I asked Alan to do a email blast. Now, normally Andrew and Mark run 12 students. Well, we got 24 students in just over an hour. So that's pretty good. So I think Andrew's tested the people that were booked in for the first 12 people, and some of those now can't do the revised date, which is the 16th of August. So I think Andrew's going to contact the other 12, or as many as he can add in to make up his 12 of the reserve group. So if you're out there and you're a reservist, expect a phone call or a text or an email. And that new course, I think I've already mentioned, is the 16th of August. Advanced driver training, that's the 23rd, 24th of August. That was a little slow filling this time. It's amazing. Sometimes that fills within minutes, but it took a little while. So we've got 7 participants with 2 people who are attending with them, but they won't be driving, they'll just be in the vehicles. And the presenters are Richard Farr and Barry Lanigan. And I think Barry's going to take them out to the Loaded Dog to let the Loaded Dog know that the club's still around and we support the Loaded Dog. Basic driver training for September, 9th of September we'll be here at the church. Modules 2 and 3 at Willaglen on the 13th and 14th of September. Currently, when I wrote the report, there was 17 bookings, but I think there may be a couple more now. We also got a trip leaders course. Gareth Davies ran one last year. He's going to run another one this year on the 27th and 28th of September, and the bookings open on the 16th of August. Now, the hard one that we've been trying to fill, and we have filled it and we overfilled it, was the first aid course. So that's run by Rescue Blue, and it's the only course that we have to charge for because it's an accredited course and we have to get an outside provider. So it's $140. It's all booked up. We're allowed to do 20 people. We've actually got 22, and that'll be on the 11th of October. I'll actually be down there with Elkie just to make sure and represent the club and make sure that everything's nice and tidy down there, the shed and the toilets and all that are nice and tidy and everything. So that'll be a good thing. And the guys that run it are the guys that hang out of the helicopters, so they're good guys to present. And so I've already mentioned some of the other courses in other meetings and that, but as we get closer to the rest of the year, I'll go through some of the courses again, because we've got auto electrical coming up, we've got towing coming up, and chainsaw course as well. So they are not open for booking yet, but they soon will be. So if you probably everybody here's done most of the courses, but if you're out there in TV land, just have a look at the website or have a look at the CES and just see what's coming up, because there's a lot of courses to go before the end of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, we'll move to promotions with Andy.
Cheers, Tony, and good evening all. Just a couple of things. TLCC news. All members should have received the July-August copy of the EMAG. If you haven't got a copy, Obviously your email's not correct. You can email Alan at membership@TLCC. The hard copy should be in your mailboxes either this week or early next week. I'm pleased to announce also we have another new full-page ad in the magazine, which will come in next issue. It's called The Cruiser Company. So they go alongside our other recent advertisers, which is full-page ads for Maxline, a canvas seat cover company, and a half-page ad for engine saver radiator alarms. Continuing to work on some other leads and opportunities we have. And as I say, there's always, if people don't read the hard copy of the magazine, as we know, the TLCC News is our most expensive, I guess, item at the club, one of its biggest expenses. So if you don't read that magazine and it just sits unopened or sits on your kitchen bench, also feel free to email either myself at promotions or Alan, and we can basically change your status as whether you get the hard copy or the TLCC News via EMAG. You'll still get the EMAG, so let us know. I've also got a couple of questions lately on, do advertisers offer discounts to members? And I guess how I respond to this is in, a short, very short way. In short, some advertisers do and some don't. I guess, how do you approach it? I say you politely ask, but don't expect. You should always thank them for the support of the TLCC. So some companies, as I said, do, some don't. The club recently attended the MDC, so it's Market Direct Campers Open Day, and that was held on Saturday the 19th of July, and it was at Moorebank. So we were actually asked to cook their barbecue, and we had a bit of a membership stand there. I guess the reason that I go, or I encourage members to go to these sorts of things, is they're companies like these that obviously support the club, and sometimes you also need to give something back to the advertiser. And for them, it was quite a successful day. They sold quite a significant number of, I guess, caravans and or off-road trailers. So it was successful for them. So I also pass a vote of thanks to Lisa Boyd, Elkin Gary Cooper, and also to Scott Jemison for helping on the day. And they've also offered to host a general meeting, which I'll consult with the committee on a date. Our other big event coming up is the Sydney 4x4 Adventure Show. Typically it's held over 3 days from the 12th to the 14th, so it's a Friday to a Sunday. If there's anyone in the room who's prepared to give half a day on any of those days to assist at the club stand, that'd be great. I've got a few spots that I need to fill. I've got pretty much the setup and the pack up under control. Colin with some other members are going to help set up, and I'll be there to help pack up with him. So that's pretty much sorted, but if you can just think about whether you can give us a few hours on a couple of those days. The good thing about it is you get free entry to the show. You can also have a look in and around the show before or either after you finish your shift. What else have I got? I've also received, and some of you may have read it on the club Facebook page. I guess for me, I was obviously looking after promotions of the club for I guess various people that do things for the club to receive, I guess, good reviews about what the club's doing as a whole, makes other members want to join the club. And this is one of the very good emails I received of late, and it's from a member who recently completed their driver training. It said, we just completed the driver training at Willaglen. As an inexperienced full driver, I was pretty apprehensive about the whole weekend and did not know what to expect. From the minute we arrived, Richard, Recce, and the whole team made us feel very welcome indeed. The whole weekend was extremely well put together. I have worked in training for New South Wales TAFE since 2011 and the training was spot on. The whole team was professional, knowledgeable, but most importantly patient and relayed information perfectly. It didn't take long for me to have full confidence in the trainers and feel like we were in a safe environment. While my Amanda felt included and welcomed, and that was important to me. I really can't thank you all enough. We're looking forward to spending more time at the club land, meeting more people and contributing towards the club in any way that we can, even if it's only cleaning toilets. Thanks again to everyone involved on the weekend, much appreciated regarding Anthony. So a great review. I guess well done Richard and the driver training team. Gary? And just on another note, a lot of people may know this person and already know, but Tony Price, life member of the club, he's been quite sick. Tony had quite a large operation on the 31st. He's come out of the back of that operation quite well. Tony has asked me to pass on all his thanks that everybody and his wishes that people have given to him, but he just wanted me to pass on his road to recovery, and I'll keep you updated if anything changes or how Tony progresses. So he's doing well. Cheers.
Thank you, Andy. Next would normally be Debbie with the social report. As I stated in my fire aid before. Next coming up is Halloween. It's all underway, and Christmas kids party is being worked on, as is the adults Christmas party. Okay, we'll move over to Brian for the landman.
Evening, everyone. I guess as I'm back up here, it's an indication that Survey I made it back from our wanderings across Europe, and we had a magnificent 3 months away. In saying that, there were some people I need to recognise who looked after the fort while I was away, and in particular who coordinated and looked after the two properties, Gordon White, John Kenny and John Hayes. And secondly, Elkie Cooper, who kept a weather eye on my emails and processed all of the guest requests that would have been processed or entered in. So thank you very much to those 4 people, and I know they were supported by many others as well, but they were the kingpins while I was away, and which I greatly appreciate their efforts. And they've kept the properties in good condition from what I hear and have seen so far. Coolandilly this weekend, weather permitting, we'll have a working bee, so anyone that wants to come down to that is welcome. We always find something to do regardless of the weather. At Willow Glen 2 weekends ago, we had a working bee. Despite the damp and the cool, we had 7 volunteers turn up. We weren't able to start until late morning on Saturday because the rain kept coming, but when it did clear, we were able to do some debris clearing on the from the gate down to containers to beautify that a little bit. There's lots of dead wood and that around. There's still plenty there, but we've done what we can so far. Because it was wet, we could see on some of the tracks where the water was pooling, so we've dug a few drainage channels so the water will run off and not pool on the tracks, and hopefully that'll prevent some further damage. And of course we collected some firewood to replace what we've been using. The RFS will be down at Willow Glen on the 16th, 17th of August doing some burns and training, so just be aware of that. I think there's going to be about 35 persons there, a couple of trucks and half a dozen other 4-wheel drive vehicles. And that's probably that. I do have one brick back to slow. Found this left opposite the shed at Willow Glen. Clearly it's second hand, so someone obviously decided it'd be a good idea to leave it for other members to clean up. So if you know who you are, have a look at your bylaws about leaving rubbish on the properties, and if you want to claim it, you've got to Thursday because it'll be in my bin Thursday night. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, let's go to membership with Alan.
Evening all.
Just a little aside, driver training in July was very interesting in the sense of the temperature. I got up Saturday morning, it was -4. So it was a very cool weekend. Been fairly busy. We've now got 13 new members with 18 vehicles. We've also have 2 returning vehicles two returning memberships who've been away for a couple of years with 3 vehicles, and unusually we've had 2 resignations, one of which got an email this morning with a map of where he's been with the club, and it was almost red all over Australia. A pretty incredible track, that one. So we currently have 905 memberships, which include 24 life. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, we'll go to full drive activities with Peter.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see you all here. We've got 5 trips on the website currently. Unfortunately, they're all full except for one, which is the Mungo Murray Sunset Border Big Desert track that Michael Cassidy is running. I just came back from a run with Michael. He's one of the best organised trip leaders I've ever had the joy of travelling with. There's 3 of us, 3 people here that I was travelling with as well, Peter, Judy and Judy and Jenny. And I think they could, if you talk to them after the meeting, they'll vouch for what a wonderful, wonderful trip it was. So Michael's trip in September 28th to October 10th is designed as a school holiday trip. He's hoping to get families and that involved and take them along. Him and his wife both being ex-school teachers, they'll have the kids well in hand. It'll be a great trip. I'd like to thank everybody else that's put their hands up to run the 5 trips that are on the websites. You can look up their names there. I'm not going to go through them all today. But as always, if you feel like you want to do a trip, put it on the site, ring me up, we'll get it organised so that somebody can go with you or you can go with somebody or whatever. I'm hopefully trying to get some more things going. The Trip Leaders course that was alluded to earlier, I've seen the notes now for that one. It should be a great course, and Chris Taylor's helping out with that, and you all know Chris, he's super dedicated to the thing. John, have you got that slide? Cheryl was talking to us all earlier, and I got a bit of surprise when this slide came up, because the fellow in the bottom left-hand corner I've known for a long, long time. That's my son Benjamin. And like Cheryl, he's worn both the police and army uniforms, and from that note I know how hard and how stressful and how deeply it can cut into you. He's seen a lot. He's been in a local area command, which I'm really glad he's not in anymore, where three of his colleagues committed suicide within 18 months to 2 years. So Cheryl, for both of the uniforms that you've worn, thank you very much for your service. And personally, I appreciate it. And I know what you go through. So thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Peter. The trip that's happening this weekend, the mystery tour, 2 spots have opened up that we're offering to new members or anyone. So please contact Scott and we'll add. Okay, is there any general business from the members? Oh, Elkie.
Good evening, everyone. Short, sharp and shiny from me. The drop and swap table tonight doesn't seem to be working terribly well as far as people taking things away. However, I've been lucky enough to get another box full of the hygienic wipes. They are free, everybody, so if you want to take them, please come and help yourself. And there won't be a clothing shop at the general meeting next month because I will be overseas. Thank you.
Thank you, Elkie. Leslie?
Good evening, everybody. Just a quick announcement. Unfortunately, due to an accident with our vehicle, the trip we were planning to leave to Bendethra on the 30th and 31st of August will have to be postponed. We do apologise. Another one, we will come up with a suitable date for that one, but we are also considering leading a trip out to it can be a day trip or it can be an overnight trip for anybody who chooses, out through Talong Lookout, out to the Goulburn Historical Waterworks, back out through Swallowtail and down to Coolandilly for the Saturday night. So that will be coming up as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Is there any others? No, Cole.
Is David Watkins here tonight? Good, I'll catch you.
Jason, you had something?
Just to add on to what my lovely wife said, it was recommended by the wonderful Peter hiding over there against the wall. If any of the people who have decided they'd like to go onto that trip to Bendethra, if they would like to step up and run that, we're happy to provide you with the route, everything you need to know, and that can be provided so that people who have booked in for the trip aren't going to miss out, because there's a couple of members who, different people, not a lot of the ones that we know who are on there, I'm sure they'd still love to go. So, they're step up if you like and lead the trip. We'll help you with everything.
Thanks, Jason. Is there any more general business? Okay, is there any general business from the committee? Oh, sorry, Richard's coming up. I can put you on.
Gary gave a great update on driver training, but I just wanted to add a few notes. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Working Bee people who do an amazing job at Willow Glen. Us, the driver trainers, we wreck it. No, we don't, but we drive it, we use it. These guys go behind the scenes and fix it all up and make it so that it is perfect for all the trainees. So a huge thank you to the Working Bee people who work in the background to make it all possible for us to go there, and it all works beautifully. So thank you, Brian. Please pass on that to all your team. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you. On that note, we are going to be, and I've spoken to Brian about this, we're looking at the water crossing. Often there's no water in the water crossing, so I've been talking with Brian to see if there's anything we can do to fix the leakage in the water crossing. So it's a little bit embarrassing when we say we're going to do a water crossing exercise, and the best we can do is spray some water in front of the tyres of the vehicles and pretend to drive across it. The other thing we've started to do is an official happy hour during the driver training. It's quite nice, thanks to the committee who've put a little bit of money towards buying a few crisps and chips. We lay it all out on a Saturday evening. We make it official. We tell everyone during Module 1 that there's a happy hour. Please bring a plate, bring a beer, make it come for a chat with everyone, and it really is working quite well. So we will continue it for the foreseeable future. I think it really brings up the atmosphere of collaboration and friendship to a new level in the shed, and I think that's really nice, and everybody is really partaking into that, so very successful. I'd also like to thank Scott. Scott and I spend quite a lot of time on the phone in between driver training weekends. Scott's not a driver trainer, he's our vice president, but he talks to me quite regularly about how we can engage the new members more, starting with Module 1, Module 2, and Module 3. The driver trainers are the first contact of all new trainees, all new members. So it's important we start off strong. So Scott, I tell Scott, and I also tell Peter actually, that I need trips after the driver training so that we can tell the new members during Module 1, this is your next step in the club activities. There's a trip and there are 3 spaces or 4 spaces set aside for you on that trip 2 weekends after the training. So thank you, Scott, for always trying to put on something a week or 2 after the training, which is really dedicated to the new members. And I know that Peter has also been working very hard to do that, so thank you. It all starts at driver training and then it flows on. If we can get them back to continue, then we're going to have more activity from those members in our club. And I'm looking at the new members there and going, yes, I'm talking about you. Which brings me to, so thank you, Scott, and thank you, Peter. You can clap. The next thing is a little chat I had just before we started. It was a question that was asked about a couple. They are here, husband and wife. Husband says, oh, I'm going to drive, I'm going to do the training. And the wife says, oh, no, I'm not going to do it. And the question was posed to Reki and to myself as, should both do it? My answer to that will always be yes. Both should do it. Both partners, husband, wife, wife, whatever it is, both partners, the couple who go driving should do the course. Imagine if there is one driver, only one driver who can do 4-wheel driving, you go on a trip and they are injured and they cannot drive. Who has to take over? It's the other person. So it is strongly recommended that both do it. And then the question was, they have a son who is there and they say, oh, can he come along? Of course. We always think that the entire family should be involved in the driver training. The son, the daughters, they might not be able to drive, but they can listen and they can learn things. And who knows, on the recovery, when the husband and wife are arguing over which rating should be, the son or the daughter could say, look, I remember and this is how it gets done. So yes, absolutely, the 3 of you should be at the training, and you, when you turn 18, you need to become an extra member and you will do the training. Is that a deal? Deal. Thank you. Here's an article from the last training. Life and death. After the birth of our daughter and about the time our twin boys were due, my very thoughtful husband, Frank, encouraged me to purchase a Ford Everest, convincing me that we needed it because it was the only car that could fit 3 baby seats and our double-decker 3-seater pram in the boot. Over the years, I continued to waste the Everest's talents on school runs, shopping trips, and back and forth to work, which is exactly 1.8 kilometers away. I think this person's got OCD. Frank had been wanting to join the Toyota Land Cruiser Club for years. He seduced me with the idea of 4-wheel drive adventures to secluded parts of Australia where we would make memories for years to come. Since I am busy being an adult these days, I paid little attention to him when he kindly decided to enroll me into the TLCC 4-wheel drive training course. So, and this is from Penelope. I think she's a doctor. So, I handle life and death situations for a living, right? I am no stranger to high-pressure situations, from cardiac arrests to respiratory distress. I always remain cool, calm, and in control. But that all changed during the TLCC 4-wheel drive training course. I cannot count how many times during the training I was close to crying or vomiting out of fear. So sorry to the new members. You're looking at me going, oh gosh. But wait, it's not over. It gets better. Or how many times I cursed my husband for knowingly putting me through this torment. With every challenge, the Everest slipped, slid, seesawed, fishtailed, tilted, spun out, and nosedived. I defied gravity, climbing up steep rock walls, cruising through deep water crossings, descending sheer slopes, and driving over gaping holes in the ground with my wheels 80 centimeters off the ground. I'm not kidding. She got a wheel lift about this high. We were so proud of her. Who in their right mind would want to do that for fun and do it again? Believe it or not, that person was me. That evening, I willfully chose to do the night drive and relive the irresponsible madness all over again. This time, I was just a little more confident, a little calmer, a little more in control. Now I can proudly boast that I am an official TLCC member with a story about the first day I drove the Everest off-road, which I will absolutely exaggerate for the rest of my life. Being anxious did not make me any less capable. Doing anything for the first time is always going to be daunting, even if it is safe, even if someone is guiding you. Courage isn't the absence of anxiety, it's moving forward with it, not despite it. So that article was from Dr. Penelope Aligianis, TLCC member. At Module 1, she was doing this the whole way through. No, I don't want to do it. And she went on the night drive, she came back with a smile from here to here. Sense of achievement was second to none. So that is what you, I hope, will experience when you come to driver training. Have I convinced you now? Yeah, good on you. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you on the trails.
Thank you, Richard. And I'll add a spot here for you, Richard, in the agenda in future. All right. General business. Any more general business? No? No? Okay, cool. General business from committee, Scott? Mark? Norma?
I would like to add about women and driving and driver training. Sure, they should do driver training, but on the first trip they should do 50% of the driving and not put up with someone next to them saying, oh, I get car sick. I've heard this so often. The wife can't drive because I get car sick. So I encourage all members to do 50% of the driving. Doesn't matter, male, female, whatever, you must become proficient with the vehicle just as the other half.
Thank you, Norma. I would tend to agree. When I did my trip to Fraser and we went through Nagala Rocks, we went through one way with one partner, we went through the other way with the other partner. That way everyone can say they got through. Okay. Anything else? No? All right, Leslie. Time for raffle. Cheryl, did you want to come up and assist with the raffle as well?
Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, Tim. Unfortunately, we left our barrel at home tonight, so we're doing it the Aldi way. So we'll start one by one. So we'll just start with the first one. Okay, the first ticket is F. That's a blue F5. Bingo. Yeah. Come on up. Second ticket is E63, orange ticket, E63. Have we got an orange ticket, E63? Oh, well done. Congratulations, Mark. Next ticket is green D65. We've got a mixed colour of tickets tonight. D65, green. Congratulations, John Twine. The next ticket after that is green ticket D34. D34. Your choice. Have we got a green ticket D34? Oh, here we go. We have a winner. Yep, take your pick. Then we have a yellow ticket, D92. Yellow D92. Aha, Ali. Yep. Second last is another green ticket, D51, D51. Green ticket, D51. I think that was it. Yeah. Guess what? You won a chair. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors and thank you to the talks tonight. They were very interesting.
Tim and...
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, the next TLCC general meeting will be held on Monday, the 1st of September at 7:30 p.m. here at our normal venue of Liberty Hill Christian Centre. Thank you and have a safe trip home. I declare this meeting closed at 9:21.